In this video, we're going to go through the process of uploading your files to the Sinclair server. To start, you want to open up a browser window and you want to go to a URL of https://cis-1350-801.sinclair.edu. Now, the 801 is only for my purpose. I am currently enrolled in this section of 801 for the 1350 course. Other students may be enrolled in a 501 course, in a 502 course, or an 803 course. So you put in the section number that you are enrolled in. In this particular instance, we are going to use as an example the 801 course section. So again, change the 801 to your section that you personally are enrolled in. I'm going to paste that URL in there and I'm going to hit enter. You should come to a page that looks like this where it's asking you for your username. Your username is going to be your first name dot last name. It is not your email address. So please do not put in your email address. The password that it wants is going to be your Sinclair password, the one that you use when you log into my.sinclair. Once you put in your password and you click the log in, it should bring you into your personal folder. So at the top here, I'm in a home area and I have my own with my name on it, and that folder scheme is automatically created by Sinclair. At this point, I have no files that are inside of this area, and I need to upload them to the server in order for us to display them. The URL of https://cis-1350-801.sinclair.edu/sites/rex.montcastle is my personal area that I will go to look at the file in the browser to see if it looks correctly once I push it up to the server. So you will also need to make note of this address. Remember, again, the 801 is my section that I'm enrolled in, not your section. So please put in your section. Again, that could be a 501 course. It could be a 502 section, an 803 section, whatever your section is. The next thing you'll have to change is you are not Rex Montcastle, but you do need to put in your username. This is my username, and you would need to put your username in there in the address. That will get you logged in to your personal space area. Okay. Once that I have gotten to this area, I need to upload my files. Now, one of the major issues that I see with students is that they don't exactly know how to upload the files or how to organize them. I'm going to resize this window and I am going to open up my File Explorer, and I'm going to go where my student data files are located at. They are underneath my downloads area, and they have a folder here that they are in, and I'm going to get inside this folder so you guys can see this area. Now, this is my folder scheme that I have on the student data files. I want to duplicate that folder scheme on Sinclair's server. So if your student data files has an HTML01 folder, then you need to have an HTML01 folder here. It's not mandatory that you guys keep the same folder scheme as your student data files, but it's the easiest to remember and it's already set up for you. So inside of my HTML01 folder, if I go into that on my personal space on the computer, notice that I have all these folders. Inside of these file folders happens to be the actual assignments that we'll be doing. In this case, we are going to be working on case 2. So if there is a folder for case 2, then on the server, you need to have a file folder for case 2 also. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do is I am just going to grab my files and move them up to the server. It's easy as a drag and drop. The very first assignment, you are to take your index file because you guys are supposed to change some content on this index file inside of Visual Studio. And then you need to push it up to the server. But you not only need to push this index file, but you need to push the assets folder, the CSS folder, and the JS folder up to the server. You can't grab them all and drag them at the same time, but what you can do is to click and drag and upload them. And as you'll see, it's uploading and it shows that it's done. So now the index file is on the server. If I were to take a look at it, it's going to be all messed up because I don't have the extra stuff that supports it up on the server. So I need to put that on the server. I need the assets folder. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag and drop it here. And it's uploading. And now it's done. The next thing I need is I need the CSS folder. And it's done. And then I need the JS folder. And I'm just going to grab that and pull and drag it up there. So now for the very first assignment, and you don't need to use the book for this assignment, but I have everything that I need on the server and it's done. Okay, we will go look at our URL and we will take a look at this area to see what it looks like. Remember, this is the address that I am using to look at my homework assignments. You will be changing the 801 section to your section, and you will be changing my name to your login name. Okay. So if I open up another browser window, I'm going to paste that address in it, and I'm going to click on the enter. Now, this is automatically displaying the index file. The Sinclair server is set up to automatically find an index file. Because I put the index file on the server knows to find the index file and display it. Notice that this file looks accurate. It looks correct. These will be the links that you guys will have to make sure work to get to your homework assignments. If you do not link your homework assignments to these pages, then they won't be graded. So please make sure they're linked and they work. If you scroll down a little bit further, this is the section that you will have to make some changes to. This personal information, you have to put in a picture. There is a picture that says 900 by 400, and it's a gray picture, but you have to change it to something that represents you. There is also a paragraph here that says that you have to change this paragraph to something that it represents yourself, whether it's your activities, things that you like to collect, or whatever it is. You will put that information on here, you'll save the file, then you will push it up to the server, just like I did here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the page will look if we didn't upload everything that we needed to upload. Remember, we had to upload the assets file, the CSS and the JS file, and along with this index file. So if I were to delete this assets file off the server, now it's missing, and I come back over to the homework area to check my homework. It looks the same, but because I had it already opened. So I need to refresh the page. And then notice that there are things missing off this page. Notice there are no images here. Well, that's because the assets folder contained the images, and therefore, since they're not on the server, it doesn't know where to find them at. So that's why I have to make sure that everything is on the server that it needs. So I'm going to click and drag the assets folder back over. I'm going to upload it again. I'm going to go back to the URL to check my area. I'm going to reload the page. Notice things come back. It found the stuff and it brought it back. Now, if you have a problem where you know that you've uploaded everything to the server that it needs, but it still doesn't look correct, that means that your code is wrong. For some reason, it's looking for your pieces in different locations than what is on the server. For instance, your assets folder may be buried inside of the CSS folder. If that's the case, the code says in this particular index file, if I were to look at it, and you can click on the index file and open it up in an editor right on the website, it's saying that it's going to find, and we have to look at the code to find the actual images. Here is one of the image codes. Notice that it says, look for the code for this particular logo image inside of the assets folder underneath a folder called images. Well, if I did not have this assets folder right on the root with the index file, this is called the root area because it's the top level, it would not know where to find that. So if I moved this inside of the CSS, I would have had to change this code to say, oh, wait a minute, go look for this file in the CSS/ folder, then you will find the assets folder and then the image folder, and then you should find the logo file. So be aware that if your page, you know you've uploaded everything and your page doesn't still work, check to make sure that it is calling for those parts and pieces that are located in the right location. Okay, so here is the first assignment that we did. We're done with it. So the first assignment will be finished. The next assignment is going to be Diane's run that you guys will be doing. You'll have to make sure that it is linked to this index file, which means that you will be changing each week, not only uploading your assignment, but you will be changing this index file each and every week because you have to link each one of your homework assignments to the appropriate location on this file. So you will have to change the index file on a weekly basis and upload that file here. Do not just drag and drop the file if your file already exists here. Delete the old file from the server first, then drag and drop the new file there. It will not override any existing named files. What it will do is it will increment and assign a number after the new file. So therefore, if you don't get rid of the original file first, it'll never find the new file because it renames them when it puts it onto the server. Okay, and you can delete them just by going to the 3 ellipses and you can click on delete, and then you can drag and drop your files over. Now, the next thing I was indicating that when you upload your homework for the HTML01, you could drag and drop this HTML01 file folder over into the root, and it will upload everything that you need. But what it will do is it will upload everything inside of the HTML folder. So you're going to get all of these extra folders that you don't necessarily need. So what I would suggest that you do is to create a new folder on the server at the root, call it HTML01, so that it creates the folder. Get inside that folder. Click on the HTML01, get inside that folder. Notice that you're inside of the HTML01 folder. Remember, where your name is, that is the root. And now you have your folder there. And then I would go into your Windows Explorer and grab case 2 and click and drag it over and drop it. And let it upload everything inside of case 2. Remember, we are doing the assignment that is inside of case 2, and we need all of these files that are inside of this folder. So just the easiest way would be to grab the folder and drag and drop it up there. If for some reason that you are looking at your homework assignment to see if it looks correct from this URL, after you click on your link, it should open up your assignment. If for some reason it doesn't look correct, you can go into the case 2 folder and just delete the individual files that you need deleted, and then drag and drop those individual files over. You don't necessarily have to go back and delete the entire case 2 folder and drag the entire case 2 folder back over to the server. You can. It it's not necessary. Your files are already on the server. Only delete and re-upload those that you change. And that's how you would actually create your individual files. Now, to link your assignment to the server, I'm sorry, to link your assignments to the index page. Remember, I said each week that not only do you have to upload your homework assignment, but you have to fix this index file each and every week. So that means that you're going to go into Visual Studio and you are going to open up your index file and you are going to change the link to your assignment for each and every week. On approximately line 47 is going to be where the first assignment is going to be linked. Okay. Now, the URL that you're seeing here may be different from the one that you see on your downloaded version software, and that's okay on your data files. But on line 47, mine indicates that it's https://cis-1350-502. I fixed that 502 to back to 801, I do believe, in your versions that they downloaded. But if not, don't worry about it. It's saying that this is in section 502. .sinclair.edu/sites/Rex Montcastle. Now, this is for Chapter 1, Case 2, Diane's Run. Okay, so I'm going to create a link on the server to my homework assignment. Now I'm going to resize this real quick just so that way we can look at both areas. Okay. Now, on the index file that I'm editing, we have to make sure that this link matches what is on the server. So the address is https://cis-1350- it's not 502, but it's going to be your section. I happen to be in 801 section, so I'm going to put that back in. .sinclair.edu, okay? Sites that's /sinclair.edu, sorry, sites/rex.montcastle. Now remember, that is the URL that we go to look for our homework assignments. So we have to put that part in. Remember, instead of rex.montcastle, it is your login ID. Now, from here, what we need to do is to figure out where are the files stored from this point out, okay? So because of what we have on the server, we have a folder called HTML01. So that means that I have gotten the right address to get the browser window to the right location up to this point. So it's bringing me to Sinclair's server, to a folder called Sites, into my personal folder. Now from there, I need to specifically tell it where to go to get it, the rest of the files. So since my files are located in HTML01, I have to put that folder scheme in. Inside of that, my homework assignments are stored inside of Case 2. So therefore, now I've got to put in the file folder of Case 2. The next item, since I get into the Case 2 folder, now I got to point to the file that I want everybody to see, okay? So in this particular case, I was to actually take this particular file. Remember, you were supposed to take the TXT files and you were supposed to get rid of the underscore, excuse me, I keep hitting the wrong one. The underscore TXT off of the file name. So this is the particular file that I need to point to. In Diane's run, you guys are going to be editing 3 files. You are going to edit the dr_FAQ file, the index file, and the info file. You do not need to point to all 3 of those because you are creating links to each one of those files. This is the main file that you need to create a link to. So in this case, I need to point to a file called dr_index.html. That is the whole path for me to get to this index file. So when I click on the link, of this particular link, I should get to now this specific location on the server to pull the dr underscore index file. The server does not know where you put the file. You have to tell it where to go to get the file from. Now that I've done that, I'm going to save this file, and now I can drag and drop this index file back up to the server. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to maximize this window, and I'm going to go back to the root. Here's the old index file that's no longer any good. So I'm going to delete this index file. And now I'm going to pull up my File Explorer, and I'm going to go back to this index file because this is the one that I just recently updated. I'm going to grab it, drag it, and drop it up to the server. So now that it's been uploaded to the server, I'm going to go back to the index page. I'm going to reload it because I had the window opened already. Now, if I point to this link right here, notice that in the bottom left-hand corner in blue, it tells you exactly where it's going to go. And there is the HTML01 / case2 / dr index underscore index.html. So if I click on this, hopefully I'm going to see the Diane's Run file. And I do see it, but the problem is that I did not complete the homework assignment. So therefore, I do not see what is on this particular page. If I want to look at the code, if I go into inspect, you would be able to see the code that would be in here. And there are no pieces of code in here for me to see. If I wanted to show you guys quickly, I would go and open up this file under the HTML01 to edit the index file of the DR. I'm going to right click on here. I'm going to rename this file just so I can quickly show you that it is the index file that we were looking at. So we should be able to see this in the content area. I'm going to save this file. Now that I have saved it, I am going to go and re-upload this file to the server. So I go into my HTML01 folder because that's where it's located at on my student data files, remember? I'm going to move this over so you can see both areas again. I'm going to get into the case2 folder. And I am only going to re-upload this one particular file because that's the only file that I modified. Why upload the other ones if I didn't do anything with those? So I'm going to delete this index file. And now in my homework area, I'm going to go back into the HTML01 folder. I'm going to go back into case2 folder, and I'm going to grab the dr underscore index file and drag and drop it over here. And now that it's up to the server, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check to see if this link does work. So if I click on this link, I didn't need to re-upload the index file because I'm pointing to the same file that I already just uploaded to fix. So I don't need to do anything else with this index file. But if I click on it to test it out, and there's the assignment. So I did point to the correct file. So at this point, if everything looks good, it looks correct with the book, they're inside of your book, they will have an image of this index file to show you what it looks like. And if it matches, then we're good to go. You are finished with the assignment. If it doesn't, then you have to go back to your Visual Studio Code and try to figure out why and re-upload everything. So back to this server area. The next assignment that we'll be doing after this HTML01 is going to be HTML02. So I'm going to follow the same process. I'm going to create an HTML02 folder on the server, and then I'm going to upload the case2 folder and drag it and drop it into the HTML02 folder this time. Then I'm going to change the index file to point to the other assignment. So because I changed line 47, the next assignment is going to be on line 50. So this is the chapter 2, the Civil War assignment. Again, we're going to change this area appropriate to your section. So remember, instead of 801, you'll be 502, 501, whatever your section is. You will be changing to your name, and then you will be putting in the file scheme after that. This will, in this particular case, when I get ready to do the second assignment, it will be HTML 02 because that's the folder I'm going to create. Again, it will be a case 2 folder, and then whatever the name of the file is. And in this case, I think it's actually called CW underscore home, maybe, is what that assignment file is going to be. So that is the scheme that I will have on the server for it to find this one. And then you start the whole process all over again. You are going to go back to here, upload your files, upload the new index, delete this index file, upload the new one with the correct link on it, go back to this URL. You are going to check the Civil War link, click on it and see if it opens it up. And if it works and it looks correct, you're done. If it doesn't, then you're going to start that process all over again. So I hope this video helps you in uploading your files and checking to make sure that things work correctly. Thank you.